Welcome to Mobility Insider. I'm your host, Morten Handelsbo. Today we're going to talk about this car, the brand new Volvo EX30, a fully electric car from Volvo, and probably the most important car from Volvo in recent years. All of the results and conclusions I make in my videos are based on my experience, having worked 35 years in the automotive industry, and our channel is not sponsored. As always with the Volvo, you can choose between various options. This car comes in 3 different trim levels. You have Core, you have Plus, and the one we have here is the Ultra. You can have various powertrain options. You can have a single motor with the small battery. You can have the single motor with the bigger battery. And you can also have a 4-wheel drive dual motor with the large battery, the performance version of the car. So the top of the line has 422 horsepower, which is quite a lot, and it will do acceleration 0 to 100 in 3.6 seconds. This one has the motor at the rear, so it's one motor, 272 horsepower, and the long-range battery, which gives you 64 kilowatt-hour capacity. This one will accelerate from 0 to 100 in 5.3 seconds. So the car is not big, it's 423 centimeters in the length, and the width is about 203 centimeters. So it's a compact car, easy to park in the city. And yet it still has a lot of presence. When you drive on the motorway, you don't feel lost in the car. It's not that small. The design is quite sharp. You got the typical Thor's hammer front lamps. You have the typical Volvo lamps in the rear that are vertical. And the design is quite sturdy in a way, in spite of the small dimensions of the vehicle. I do want to talk about the price of the vehicle. As it stands here, the price is 49,675 Swiss francs. That is a steep price tag for a car of this size. However, what you do get as well is a 10-year service plan that is included, up to 150,000 kilometers. And you also get a 5-year warranty up to 150,000 kilometers. So that is compensating a little bit for the high price. If you buy a Model Y dual motor long range, you get that for the same price as this car, and that's a much bigger car. Or if you compare it to the sister model, which is the Smart #1, the Volvo will cost you about 10% more than the comparable smart car. If Volvo can sustain that price level, time will tell. I think it's probably at the upper end of what this car can carry as a price tag. So I want to show you the trunk space of the vehicle, but I also want to let you see the rear design of the vehicle, which I think is really well executed. And when you see it driving, it really looks great. Now let's have a look at the 318 liters trunk space. It is decent wide and easy to use, but it is not very big. This is the standard position of the cargo space, and you cannot lift this. You can take it out entirely. You can also stow it like this, and you have a bit more space, so it actually becomes quite decent when you do that. Here you have space for cables and other small stuff. So they use the space fairly well. What surprised me a little bit is how bare the vehicle is when you are a rear passenger. So no pockets for your phone or iPad. You don't have an armrest. I didn't find any cup holders. The door pockets are quite small. What you do have is a little shelf you can pull out, and you can put your biscuits or whatever there. But there isn't much comfort in the back of the vehicle, and it is very tight. So the modern trend is that you try to be minimalistic to save money, but also give the driver an improved user experience. Tesla is doing that really well, even though it's not perfect. I don't think Volvo with the EX30 has nailed it. They tried, the screen works well, you got Google Automotive software that works really well. But it's kind of, you know, they saved money in various places. Let me give you an example. The power window buttons are here in the middle, so it's not very easy to use them. If you want to open the windows in the back, you need to press a button, and then activate the switch for the rear windows. When you sit in the back seat, you'll find there's no armrest, no cup holders, no front seat back pocket, just gone. So I think they've taken this too far, and I'm saying that on the basis of the price of the Volvo EX30, which is comparable to a Model Y dual motor, fully spec'd four-wheel drive. But this is a rear-wheel drive, one motor, smaller battery, less equipment. So yes, it's a premium brand. Yes, Volvo has a nice feel to it, but sorry, that is just not the right way to do it, in my opinion. And the sales of this excellent small car will be limited because of that approach. So we talked about the negatives, but let me also talk about a couple of positive things about the car. Let me start with the interior. The quality feel is very good. You have this nice Nordic design feel that is light and also of very high quality. The materials in the car are made from recycled plastics and so on, and that gives you a really good feel. Steering wheel is nice to hold. You got a sound bar from Harman Kardon that gives you excellent sound, so that is a good execution. You sit well, the seats are comfortable. The mirrors are quite nice actually, and you've got some beautiful design features. The door handles when you pull the door and you open the door. Stitching is really high quality stitching. You have a nice big glass moonroof in the car that gives light into the cabin. Some nice touches, the way they've done the ventilation and the way that it feels is very high quality. So yeah, there's a lot of things to like about the EX30. Let me talk about the powertrain of the EX30. So you have one motor, 272 horsepower. That's a lot of power for a small car. However, it is not that efficient. The combination of the drag coefficient, which is 0.28, which is quite high, with the motor, with the 20-inch rims that are, of course, quite big for this size of car, that gives you a fairly high consumption, which I think is a little bit disappointing. I measured between 21 and 22 kilowatt hours consumption per 100 kilometers. And I think for a small car, and at this temperature today, we have about 10 degrees, I think that is just on the high side. I would expect the car to do better than that, because it gives you a everyday range when you drive it of just 325 kilometers in spite of the large battery that is in this car. I think that is disappointing. It's a nice car to drive, so maybe most customers won't mind, but other cars do better than the EX30. So that brings me to the conclusion after having driven the Volvo EX30. Let's just talk about first the things I really like about the car. I think the car looks great. The design is really appealing to me. It's got this Nordic minimalistic, really thought through design, so that is well done. The car drives really well. The suspension is great. The brakes are good. The steering handling is excellent. And you really see that the SEA platform from Geely that is used for Smart and for the Volvo and also for the Seeker that we don't have here yet. But that platform is really competent and makes the car drive well. Let me also mention a few negatives about the car. If you're a passenger, an adult sitting in the rear of the vehicle, you will find that the car is very tight. And also the cost savings Volvo have made on the car, I think, have gone too far. You don't find any armrest, you don't find any cup holders in the rear of the vehicle, and you have no seat back pockets in front of you. And really, that should be standard on a car in this price range. Second thing is the consumption of the vehicle. The average I had was 19.9 kilowatt hours consumption. And for this type of vehicle, this size, that is a little bit too much. If you take the benchmark, the Tesla Model 3, the consumption over the same test distance is just 15 kilowatt hours. So 15 to 19.9 kilowatt hours. That is a big difference, and this car is a smaller car with less horsepower. Finally, the price of the vehicle is probably on the high side. I know this is a premium brand, this is the Volvo pricing strategy, but if they want to sell this car, and it is an excellent car, in larger numbers, I think the price will have to come down a little bit because it is too pricey, nearly 50,000 Swiss francs for this car compared to what you get at Tesla or Volkswagen. That would be a stretch. I've decided to give the car 3 stars. And the reason it gets 3 stars and not 3.5 or 4 stars is because of the high price. And second, because of the below average efficiency of the battery and the motor. But it is an excellent car, drives really well, it looks great. As a driver, you feel really nice when you drive the car. So it has a lot of things going for it, but it is a 3-star rating from me for the Volvo EX30. Thank you for watching Mobility Insider. If you like the video, give me a thumbs up. If you know someone who might be interested in the car, do share the video and don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Thank you.